I get this question a lot. What's going to happen if Donald Trump lifts the sanctions on Russian oil? And look, I'm leaning towards the idea that he will, but I don't know what he's going to do, right? I'm thinking there's a good chance he does. But I think if Republicans in Congress get in his ear, maybe he won't, because they understand the implications of this whole thing happening. Ukraine, Russia, Iran, OPEC, all of it is tied together. If Trump lifts the sanctions on Russian oil, there will be an immediate sell-off in the oil markets, but that'll be an emotional sell-off. It won't be due to fundamentals of the market, right? What happens after that will be determined on whether, Russia decides to increase production or just maintain their current production and enjoy the market prices that they're going to receive, because right now they're selling oil at a deep discount. If them getting to sell their oil at market prices makes them happy and they don't increase production, then you won't see a sustained sell-off in the oil markets. But now you have Iran. We have had sanctions on oil from Iran since the Obama administration, but how this works is we just choose when to enforce them and when to not. We enforce them when prices are low, so it doesn't piss off Americans, and we stop enforcing them when prices are high to try to keep prices from, because it's all about Americans and their gas prices. Those sanctions still exist today. Biden has not enforced them very much because of high prices. Trump did not enforce them for the first 2.5 years of his administration because oil and gas prices were rising. Bibi Netanyahu is going to want those sanctions enforced. Absolutely. So who does he get to make up for the production? Because it won't be the United States. It has to be OPEC. It has to be OPEC plus, because we can't increase production that much that fast. It would take us a couple of years to increase production enough to fully enforce sanctions on Iran. And U.S. oil companies and their shareholders will not tolerate just spending more money to drive oil prices down lower. That's not a thing. Whether you think it is or not a thing. Will Saudi Arabia agree to increase production again at the risk of Donald Trump double-crossing him like they did in 2018? He got Saudi Arabia to increase production, the promise of Iranian sanctions, and then he granted Iran waivers and crashed the whole market. Will they fall for that again? Will they trust Donald Trump? Or will he go to Russia? If he goes to Russia, we give up Ukraine. If we give up Ukraine, we are no longer the only superpower in the world. Period. If we give up Ukraine, we greatly strengthen OPEC and the OPEC nations, and we greatly weaken the United States. Ukraine has vast amounts of natural resources. Ukraine has vast amounts of natural gas. The United States has invested, hundreds of billions of dollars in liquefied natural gas facilities to supply our allies in Europe and beyond. If you hand Ukraine to Russia, that goes away. So this is a very complex and difficult situation for any president to be in. You cannot deliver low gas prices, sanctions on Iran. You can't deliver Ukraine to Russia. You cannot do all of these things without harming the United States greatly. From a business perspective, if you're in the natural gas business in the Northeast corridor of the United States, say Pennsylvania, West Virginia, or if you're a worker, the absolute worst thing that could happen to you right now would be for us to give Ukraine to Russia. Because at that point, not only do you have the U.S. and OPEC competing for oil markets, you also have them competing for natural gas markets. And the U.S. dominates natural gas markets at the moment. You give away Ukraine, you give away that natural gas dominance. Thanks.